इस्लाम एट अ ग्लांस इज ब्रॉट टू यू बाय जिंदगी हक है और मौत बर हक। अर्रियान मुस्लिम फ्यूनरल सर्विसेज काबिल एतमाद और शरीयत के ऐन मुताबिक बरसा बरस से हफ्ते के 7 दिन खिदमत में मसरूफ़ अमल। फ़ोन 3472590055।
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah ahda wassalatu wassalamu man la nabiyya ba'da. Dear viewers, today our topic is Islamic attitude towards non-Muslims. We are living in a very challenging times, the times of deception and disinformation. And there is a big network of communication now available through which the initial intention was very good, that these social media linkages were created in order to connect people all around the world. But unfortunately, in the last some years, we are seeing the trends that are very dangerous. Even in the last few years, we have seen that these networks has taken over the political world also. So the democracy cannot be trusted anymore. The stats show that for the events like the elections in United States or Brexit referendum, 87 million people, their records or their profiles were tracked, and their intentions and their habits were looked at, and then it was found that certain groups are interested in certain kind of news and information, and based on that interest, sometimes false information or according to the liking of one group was spread. And in this way, the thinking and the options that a person has to select from were made limited. You can only think in one direction. So your thoughts are being channelized through these kinds of activities. The same goes true with the religious teachings and the teachings of various ideologies. There is stuff out there on the internet that claims to be the teachings of certain ideology or certain religion, where in actual it is not, and it is just on the name of certain religion or certain ideology. Some thoughts are being spread which has nothing to do with the original message, and same is true with Islam as well. So in case of Islam, our sources which we rely on, which we depend on, is Quran and Sunnah. These two, alhamdulillah, we always claim are preserved over 1400 years without much change. But what people play with now is with the interpretation of certain ayahs of Quran, for example, or even twisting the meanings of some of the ayahs to get what they want out of that. Islam and other religions and other ideologies, they pick up certain things and then try to, in many cases, try to create an atmosphere of hatred and dislike among the people. So it serves certain purposes for them. I don't know if they belong to certain interest group, maybe interested in selling weapons. I don't know. All the interest groups are taking advantage of this, so that they want the world to be in certain order, or I should say disorder, so that they can get their benefits or their interests. In this context, I want to point out one of the ayah that was after 9/11. I have seen that in many cases, at that time there was not much of the social media, but mostly the television. The television channels will invite one scholar of Islam, for example, in United States, Siraj Wahaj. They will invite him, they will tell him that we would like to know, Sheikh, what you are doing, what is your social work and all that. And when he is on there, in a program, they will put a question to him, what is that in this ayah 51 of Surah Maida in Quran, which says that don't take friends from Jews and Christians. This is spreading hatred. So they were following an agenda. They were creating fear among the people, hatred among the people, so that they can do certain things to Muslims. So it was part of the agenda. So they would put such questions, and then he's just he has to take that question on, and if he's prepared, and the people like Siraj Wahaj were always prepared. So they would answer. In certain cases, the people of not much knowledge were responded to such question in a way that is not proper, I should say. So this ayah which I am pointing to, this has been mentioned many times. The ayah number 57 of the same surah, Surah Al-Ma'idah, it says that Ya ayyuhal lazina amanu la tattakhuzul lazina takhuzu dinakum huzwan wa laibam minal lazina utul kitaba min qablikum wal kafirina awliya. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that don't take those from the Jews and Christians and the kuffar, your protectors or your guardians, who are mocking at you with respect to your deen or your Islam, and making fun of it. So such people should not be. I mean, this makes common sense. Anybody who does not take your beliefs seriously, you are not going to take him your protector or your intimate relationship with such person. You still will have some relationship, but will not have a relationship with such level. So this is actually the type of people which we are not supposed to have a relationship of taking them as your own guardian. Now, the thing is that the people who are living in such environment where majority of people living around them is non-Muslims, that is the situation where we should understand how we need to handle this situation. In the US, I remember that there's one phrase which is very common among Muslims. Say that you do an attitude of insulation but not isolation. That means Islam does not, it's not in the nature of Islamic teachings that it will tell you to be isolated in a community. You have to be interacting, and I'll tell you why. You have to continue to interact with the people you are living in, regardless whoever. If they are Muslims, non-Muslims, you have to interact. You have to be closer to them. You have to listen to them, and you have to tell them what you believe in. So isolation is not allowed, but insulation in the sense that there are certain things that you should not get from them, and your children should not get from them. For example, a practical example is that if you have some neighbors and you are visiting them and your children are visiting them and they are using alcohol, for example, you will tell your children that we are not supposed to get into these things, and even if you visit them, if they offer you food, you can eat, but if there's something that is restricted, this is haram declared by Islam, you should not do it. So this is kind of insulating yourself from some things that they do, and you cannot isolate yourself, or should not isolate yourself. And moreover, if you're living in a community and you find the people which are outside of Islam in need of help, so you go to your humanitarian feeling. And in the times of, for example, some house got burned, and you should be the first to go and help such neighbors or such people in the community, or a storm in case of fire or whatever happened, calamity. You should be ready to be available to support and help your neighbors and your people from the community and locality where you're living in. On top of that, your purpose for life, it involved for a Muslim, it is the purpose of life is dawah. So you should always be communicating. As I said, that you cannot live without communicating, is that you are supposed to tell or to pass on the message of the message that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ brought, and he is no more there. This is now our work to get this message across to the people, to the world. So if we will be isolated, if we are not talking, if there are barriers, then we cannot do this job, which is a fundamental, is necessary for us to do. More so for the people who live in communities where most of the people are non-Muslims. This is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for dawah. So you should engage them. You should, from your character, from your behavior, they should learn and they should appreciate what you are doing, and you should tell them about your beliefs, and you should tell them about your religion, about Prophet Muhammad, and try to get rid of any misconceptions they may have taken. As I said in the beginning, there is a deception and disinformation campaign going on through the social media and TV channels and all that. So you have a double responsibility. One, to dispel those misconceptions about jihad, about the Muslims not being friendly and all that, and also to tell them what you believe in. I remember the times after 9/11 when people used to come in big number to our mosque, and then they wanted to learn, and there were many very sincere people. Sincerely, they wanted to learn about Islam. That was an opportunity, although it was something very sad that happened, but it created an opportunity for people to interact and learn and know about many about the other religion that they had some misunderstanding about. So that is very important, that we continue communicating in our centers, in our masajid, invite the people so they can come see. There is no terrorist activity going on. There is no hatred speeches going on. This is something that we are ready, and we are open to show to anybody, and we would like the people to come and visit us and understand what we are doing. As I said, that there are special instructions when it comes to Jews and Christians, and in one of them is about it is allowed to marry in their woman. But I also said that it is not recommended. It is preferred that if a servant or a lower financial class woman from Muslim community is available, then you should marry her rather than going for one woman from the Ahl al-Kitab, which is of very high status. That is how the Islamic teachings tell us. So should not unnecessarily take the advantage of this concession or this permission, but we should our action is according to what is actually the spirit of that. But there are certain things which are not allowed for when it comes to the non-Muslims. One of them is the inheritance. The inheritance of for example, a person, it happens in US or in European countries that one person from the whole family becomes Muslims. And then when he or she becomes Muslim, the law of inheritance of Islam does not apply with the family. For example, if she has a lot of money or wealth and she dies, so her wealth will not, or his wealth, if he's a boy or man, will not be inherited by the non-Muslim parents or relatives. The same way, a non-Muslim parent, father or mother died and they left wealth, the Muslim son or daughter of such parents will not inherit it from the exemption is that from during the lifetime, if a non-Muslim parent or a Muslim parent to the other religion of their daughters and son, give something as a gift, that's a different thing. There are certain things which are not allowed with the non-Muslims. One of them is inheritance. Inheritance, in case of inheritance, if the parents are, for example, non-Muslim, and the son or daughter became Muslim, then he or she will not inherit from the wealth of his or her parents. And same way is if the father is or parents are Muslims, from their wealth, the children who are not non-Muslims will not inherit. Inheritance is only among Muslims. But during the lifetime, one can give something as a gift. And also, if he or she wants to write a will, it is recommended that he can do for 30% of the total value, but not more than that. So these are some restrictions when it comes to the interaction or the relations with non-Muslims. But in general, to conclude, the idea of Muslims living in a non-Muslim country, regardless for what reasons they have gone there, they may not have this in their mind when they initially went to Europe or America or any other non-Muslim area. They may have gone there to earn some dollars, or they may have gone there to earn some degree, or any worldly reasons. But once you are there and you are getting this message, and this become clear to you that this is one of your fundamental duties to convey the message of Allah to the people who have not gotten it for one reason or another, or in some cases they have gotten some wrong message. So this is your duty to clarify that and get this message outreach to the people. Don't live in a state where you are not communicating, and use the opportunities. I give you quickly 2-3 examples to finish this. Like in, again, referring to my friend Siraj Wahaj, who mentioned to me in one meeting that what he does is that when he's flying in an aircraft, what he does is he keeps a copy of Quran with him. And he said that I deliberately, if somebody is sitting next to me, I make it like this and start reading. So when he or she sees that, what is this strange writing, this Arabic is written there. So the question is, what is that you are reading? And that starts the engagement. And he starts talking about and clarifying and telling them what we believe in, what Islam is. The whole dawah thing starts right there. So you need to create and look for opportunities. I remember when we were there was a movie that was released on Passion of the Christ. And in that movie, there was, so many wrong things mentioned about Isa alayhi salam or the Christ. So we produced a CD with one of our American Muslim friend giving verbal information on that about what Jesus, who was Jesus, and how Islam believes about Jesus, and all that, about 20-30 minutes of that CD. And our young boys used to go and distribute it to the people who are coming out of the cinema halls after looking at that, what they have told them in that movie, that how Jesus was. And then they would listen in their car or at their home what Islam thinks about Jesus, which is a very high status. Islam is the only religion who give the utmost respect to Isa alayhi salam outside of Christianity. No other religion does that, and we have a very high status for Isa alayhi salam and all the prophets of Allah. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر لي ولكم ولسائر المؤمنين والمؤمنات. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
इस्लाम एट अ ग्लास वॉज ब्रॉट टू यू बाय जिंदगी हक है और मौत बर हक। अर्रियान मुस्लिम फ्यूनरल सर्विसेज काबिल एतमाद और शरीयत के ऐन मुताबिक बरसा बरस से हफ्ते के 7 दिन खिदमत में मसरूफ़ अमल। फ़ोन 347-259-0055।